This is a Jericho planning presentation from Neil Stuart. We need to stop our piecemeal approach to construction and its associated pitfalls. It's time to pause and reflect on our unfinished projects and integrate them into one single site plan. Let's take the politics and personalities out of the process and freely explore all new ideas. Let logic and good design prevail. Good planning principles include highest and best use, multi-purpose versus single use, our social context, meaning our club culture, programs, activities, and the impact on members, and aesthetics being consistent with the existing Paul Merrick design, and finally, a sound financial model. A spectacular rendering of our pool was presented. However, the spectacular part was the complete absence of vents on our viewing deck. 3 years ago, concern was raised at the time about the highest and best use of our waterfront deck. The feeling at the time was to complete the project as is and resolve this issue after completion. The view of the sunset and the mountains is, of course, highest and best use. The view of our tennis playing is highest and best use. And storage on our deck, of course, is not highest and best use. Looking northward from the grassy knoll, our ocean and mountains are highest and best use. Looking southward, our third bubble vent is not highest and best use. It's also aesthetically incongruous with our Paul Merrick design. Compare the existing Court 8 vent with the third bubble vent size. These differ significantly. The red outline shows the relative size of the Court 8 vent compared to the new vent. An overhead view showing the green area is a good indicator of our highest and best use of our current deck. Looking at these red areas, these are not highest and best use. They are stairs and vents, and not considered highest and best use of our deck. There are at least 4 configurations for a new vent. One would be to reduce the size of our third bubble vent and move it up against the east wall, at least the east fence. 2 would be to relocate it to south of Court 6, which is at the top of the screen. A third possibility is to extend the main deck east right to the fence. And 4 would be to take advantage of the elevation of this particular third bubble vent and place a viewing deck over top of the third bubble vent. All 4 scenarios create the possibility of moving the laundry vent to the east fence, opening space for an expanded women's locker room. The current women's locker room is to the right of the pool access door. Expanded lockers could extend to the left of the access door. The middle step must be excavated and replaced as part of a deficient installation. This would be the time to deal with the industrial stairwell. The stairwell can be covered at the same time to create a deck and install an access door through the wall. 2 configurations allow for a hitting wall. Multi-purpose should prevail here by installing a ball curtain similar to the ones between courts 9 and 10 with no wire mesh. This would allow the same space to be used for barbecues and special events. There are 2 more end-of-trip configurations that should be considered and reviewed before we move forward with the final plan. There's a potential to connect courts 1 and 12. This would increase viewing and make it easier to move from court 1 to 12. This is just a better view of the same location. Several existing proposals associated with the northwest corner are in need of updating. One was to extend the game room. 2 was to relocate the balcony and create a rectangular social lounge. 3 was to expand the reception area at the entrance on the main level. 4 was to revise an office plan. And 5 was to review an existing plan under the driveway and integrate it with the lower level and a possible end-of-trip location. This is the view of the proposed storage under the driveway, not highest and best use, but this could be modified. The end-of-trip driveway under the driveway conflicts with the existing plan. A positive attribute of this plan is that there is direct access from the lockers into the clubhouse. There's an opportunity for a spectacular member-friendly beachfront here, and this should be explored. Here's our old pier if you haven't seen it before. The new pier would attach just west of the hot tub on the grassy area. And the plan for the pier so far has a cantilevered ramp that provides security from the float. There's a 20 by 20 platform that would allow for members to lounge out on the pier. And this pier project has been outstanding for some time, and it's time to see if the members are still interested. The length needs to be determined based on a review of our sedimentation. A site plan update would include a review of all scenarios, document and answer all questions, develop a sound financial model, solve any existing problems we may have, communicate with our members, and finally let our members decide which way to go. The planning committee would look at the viewing deck, our end of trip, courts 1 and 2, the northwest corner, and the pier. Why? These are cosmetic changes and should be taken into consideration so we have a complete integrated site plan. Also, we're a non-profit society, and so we're not allowed to make a profit, and we take in about $1 million a year that must be spent. So over the next 10 years, we should fall within that budget. Let's improve the tennis experience with no more disruptions. Just out of interest, here's a 1926 photo. We have 12 contiguous courts, a driveway on the west side, and a hitting wall, very similar to the configuration we've had up until just recently. It's your club. Put me in, coach.